Hi, welcome to my channel, Healthy by George. My name is Mary Catherine and my friends call me MC. And today's video is about intermittent fasting. And I'm so surprised. I had thought about doing intermittent fasting about a couple of years ago when I first learned about my kind of hormone disorder, or really what probably is undiagnosed polycystic ovarian disorder. I was having some hormonal issues and challenges with my menstrual cycle, and oh my gosh, what a nightmare. But I did see a wonderful endocrinologist who said that she really believed I was someone who was not ever diagnosed with polycystic ovarian disorder. So we started with some medicines, and she told me to look into some ways of dieting or changing my diet or modifying my diet. And lo and behold, for the first time in my life, I started losing weight. But it was extraordinarily slow. I've never lost weight so slow. I mean, initially it was a little bit, but then it just slowed down to like a half a pound or a quarter of a pound. And before this, I really thought that I was someone who could never lose weight. I just had struggled for all my life, not really understanding why I was someone who couldn't lose weight despite my efforts. So I started with this endocrinologist, working with some medicines, and now I've refined that even more, which is amazing, and have added this idea of intermittent fasting. At first I was kind of, not crazy about changing my lifestyle that included fasting. I think we all get used to sort of a routine that we're in our day. We wake up, we eat some breakfast, we get going. Plus there's all this talk about, you have to keep your metabolic, furnace burning or something. I don't know what that is, but it's never worked for me. And so about a year ago or 2 years ago, I started trying to look into the research around this. And what was interesting is that I started exploring what's called a circadian rhythm. In other words, eating kind of in the daylight. And, that seemed to help a little bit with everything, but not really, I think, overtly. What really changed was, having to deal with COVID, and I have kind of adopted this COVID diet, which was not very healthy. Definitely wasn't what had been my eating pattern before COVID. And I just kind of reverted back to some mindless eating, which wasn't really very helpful. But then I thought in June, let me refine things. Let me see if I can really adopt something that might help me even more, because, I'm someone who's older. And guess what? I still need to lose 50 more pounds. Even though I've lost a good 60, I still need to lose 50 pounds to be the healthiest person I can be. And I really don't want to do this like with diet or this concept of dieting culture. I really want to have something where I'm adopting a lifestyle, a modification that is something that I can embrace for my life. I don't like to think of things as just eating for a certain restricted way that I can't adapt into being in my life. So I started in June, just making small changes where I would only eat during I would do 16 hours of no eating and then the 8 hours of eating. And that seemed very doable, but the weight loss wasn't quite there. What really changed was when I started using the app called Xero. Now this is a disclaimer, I work for a major medical institution. Everything I share on this website or this channel is not in any way what is it called? Embraced by the medical institution, nor is anything I'm sharing in here sponsored by Xero. But I really started learning about how my body functions when I am, okay, that's my dog who suddenly has decided that he wants to play and make himself comfortable while I'm taping. But it was really wonderful for me to explore the difference between doing an 18-hour no eating period versus a 16-hour no eating period versus a 20-hour no eating period. So I went to my doctors. I have a very supportive doctor team. My primary care provider is awesome. I felt so proud of myself, that it had been a whole year and I had lost weight still, not a whole lot, maybe 5%. But I knew that I was onto something when I saw my endocrinologist and I had lost a little bit more. And she said, well, why don't you stay on this path? I talked about some of the things that I could explore if I suddenly find a plateau. And because I was thinking maybe I really could do 24 hours of not eating, because I have seen where people who have done 24 hours of not eating have been able to really, move the weight and adapt a different lifestyle and are much happier and healthier. So I made the choice to stay the course of just being consistent. Being consistent, doing an 18 and 6, or one day a week doing a 20 and 4. So 20 hours on Monday, because generally on Saturday and Sundays I like a little more flexibility with dieting or my eating patterns, I would say. You get used to saying the old word of diet. Because what else do you call it? The foods I choose to eat? I'm not sure. So I just wanted to share that I've had tremendous results because I had taken my hemoglobin A1C back in June, and it was a little bit on the borderline of pre-diabetes, and I wanted to just see how much can I modify that one element, because it's in my family, it's something I struggle with on and off. Can I modify my hemoglobin A1C by doing this fasting of eating only for a very specific time during the day and then not eating in the evenings? And man, I went and did my blood work the 1st of September, and I saw my endocrinologist, and it is amazing. I've reduced my hemoglobin A1C down to not pre-diabetic anymore. I have lost again a few more pounds, so it makes a total of 15 pounds since June. I continue to feel more energetic. I'm feeling less pain in my joints, which is kind of amazing. I was noticing that today. And I am curious as I continue to explore intermittent fasting, how is this going to feel over time? And this was not so restrictive. I am still really being very mindful of my food intake and, carbs and macros and micros, just because, information is power. Why not? But I don't feel like I have to be so rigid or so restricted, because those are old patterns that didn't serve me earlier in my life when I had an eating disorder. So I really am excited to see where this journey of using intermittent fasting. And what's so curious about it is there's these 3 phases. Apparently, during that first 4 hours after you stop eating, your body's using the energy from the food that you consumed. Then in the next 6 to 8 hours, your body is using a combination of energy from your liver and then from the food you consumed. And then if you go past the 16-hour period, you then really start to go into the fat stores. And wow, when I've consistently done the 18-hour of fasting, I have gotten some increased weight loss, which has given me great hope that I can be a winner. And of course, that's Petey, who wants to be in the camera. So please join me, subscribe, and let's do this discussion about intermittent fasting, staying healthy, being on this journey to be the best version that we can be. Thank you, and let's comment and share. Thank you. Bye.